Okay, Hugh, we are live. Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next super stock company spotlight. Today, I am speaking with Hugh Rogers. He is the CEO of Xphyto Therapeutics. Stock symbol is XPHY over the counter. Excuse me, XPHY in the CSE, XPHYF over the counter. Hugh, welcome. Hugh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hugh? Okay, I think we may have a technical issue here. Hugh?
Hi, Jack. How are you this morning?
Okay, Hugh, I think we're getting a delay. I think we're getting a video delay. Do you have a window open, like a YouTube window open?
Is it still delayed? Is there an echo on your end?
Okay, no, it's good now. It's good now, but we had a delay before.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. There was some background sound there, but
yeah. Okay, so you have all your windows closed out, your YouTube windows or anything like that?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think it was some weird delay. Okay. All right. This is the charm of doing the live live internet events. So I'm going to start off. So please don't mind me, everybody. I'm going to start off now just for editing purposes because we're going to use this video later. Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next super stock live stream. Today is Friday, August 14th, and I'm speaking with next super stock conference presenter Xphyto Therapeutics. Stock symbol is XPHYF over the counter, XPHY on the CSE. The CEO is Hugh Rogers, and Hugh, welcome.
Jack, thank you very much. Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Everything is working better now. The sound is good. So Hugh, I guess today is, you have some great news out today. The stock is going to be trading on the OTCQB.
That's right. So just today we started an uplisting from PINX to the OTCQB. So that's pretty exciting to get access for our U.S. investors to participate in the story.
Yeah, I think it's actually, it's a great thing because it serves as a catalyst for the stock to get more, essentially it widens the audience, it widens the potential buyers. It's a positive. You've also had some news, the diagnostics product. We're going to dive into that in a second. But for anybody that's new to the Xphyto story, can you kind of give us a snapshot of what is the company all about?
Sure. So we're a diversified bioscience company, but really focused on explosive opportunities. So everything we're doing is, let's say, swinging for the fences. So we're in the diagnostic space. We're working with pandemic threats, obviously COVID-19 on the testing side, avian flu, swine flu, and other influenza A. So these are very obviously timely opportunities. We're also in the drug development space, working on some CBD applications as well as THC, and these are high margin technology-driven products, so oral dissolvable films for, let's say, predictable dosage forms of medication. We also have a transdermal patch technology for application or delivery of a Parkinson's medication. So a number of very strong stories with pretty exciting upside.
Okay, your market is mostly it's in Europe right now?
That's right. So in terms of both our capital markets and our operations, we're very focused on Europe. Capital markets perspective, we trade very well in Europe, good volume, a lot of investor interest on that front. And that's, I think, why it's important that we got this OTCQB listing just today, because this is one of the first opportunities we've had to introduce the story to American investors, which we're pretty excited about.
Okay. I think, a lot of the interest in the stock right now is regarding the, this COVID-19 diagnostic test that you're about to launch. Can you tell us about that? And then we'll jump into some audience questions. We're getting a lot of audience questions coming in, so we'll jump into those. So what's the status of that test?
Right. So I guess from a high level, we're developing a disposable, low-cost, rapid COVID-19 screening test, and this is based on viral RNA. So this is, obviously a critical need. This is something testing is absolutely a critical component of any pandemic mitigation strategy, and that's something that's certainly lacking, especially in the United States. We see long delays for RT-PCR results, 1 to 2 weeks, which is totally unacceptable. So developing a test that can deliver results in 5 to 10 minutes was our goal, and we're on track to have that product in the European market in Q1 2021. So that's very exciting to be part of that. The solution is pretty amazing.
Okay, so Q1 of next year, the test will be ready. And can this be used for other other diseases? I mean, are you gonna what are the other applications for this?
So our COVID-19 test actually includes a universal coronavirus probe. So we're concurrently or at the same time, but independently measuring or detecting both COVID-19 and other coronaviruses. So that would include MERS or SARS, other serious pandemic threats. We also have a pipeline of oral dissolvable biosensors that will include other viral threats. So this is certainly a space that we are deeply involved in, and building a portfolio of products that includes a number of pandemic threats.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, but I figured let's jump into an audience question, which is kind of in line with what I was going to ask you. Is so Shiresh is asking what separates you from other diagnostic tests?
I think the biggest difference I've seen, there's a few different ways to distinguish. So I think first of all, amplification is something that we don't do. So that's a time-consuming step that I've seen even some quote rapid tests employing. So you're looking at probably 30 minutes plus in terms of activation time. So that's something we don't have or don't require. We're focused on RNA, which is also, I think we have the most confidence around RNA this is viral RNA being present throughout the course of disease. So pre-symptomatic, asymptomatic, and even post infection during a viral shedding phase. So we're very confident that RNA is present. I think these are I'd say the two biggest differentiators, and then time as well. So we're getting strong results under 5 minutes. But our overall goal, I think a test needs to be effective in less than 15 to be employed. So I think we're well within that range.
Okay, and there's another question he's asking about the sensitivity of the test.
I can see that there. What is the sensitivity and specificity of your test? So those numbers will be disclosed publicly. We have not yet. We're well within the range of what's been established in terms of RNA levels within infected patients. So I think it's important to look at viral load. So that's often discussed, viral load, how sensitive is your test, what's the viral load? I think what they're actually saying is how much viral RNA is present, because viral load generally is measured by viral genome. So again, that goes back to what we're testing. We're not looking for antigens. Antigens may or may not be present at certain points during the disease due to viable or non-viable viruses, and whether you're infectious or not. So our ability to concentrate on RNA and to have a sensitivity and specificity. So we're looking at sort of your true positive, true negative rates. Well within what we've seen clinically in terms of RNA levels.
Okay, Hugh, so can you give just like an overview of all the companies, like key initiatives, like the products that what do you have in development? What's the pipeline looking like that we could look forward to?
So within the diagnostic space, the COVID-19 lateral flow assay will be the first product. There's a number of other diagnostic products that are based on oral dissolvable biosensors, and this includes swine flu, avian flu, influenza A, as well as scarlet fever, and a number of oral health applications. Oral health is, it's not as sexy as COVID-19, obviously, but those are good businesses. So we have a portfolio of those products. We also have a number of drug development products. So or drug delivery rather, on the Parkinson's side, this is a transdermal patch with rotigidine. It's a slow release over 1 to 2 days, and then CBD-based oral dissolvable. And I think it's important to recognize that we're not bringing new drugs to market. We're using our proprietary delivery system to deliver both drugs more efficiently and biosensors in an oral capacity.
So this is this dissolvable technology then?
That's right. So you can imagine it's sort of an oral thin film. I mean, it's something like a Listerine strip, but rather than delivering mouthwash, we're delivering, in certain cases, drugs. So these are narcotics, approved APIs, or in the case of our diagnostics, a biosensor. So this is a peptide-based biosensor. It's specific to certain pathogens. The pathogen, once it interacts with that biosensor, it releases a highly bitter compound. So the most bitter compound known to man. Once that's released, obviously the patient would be aware of it.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit about like some of your partnerships, like what you're doing in Germany, all that stuff?
That's right. So we've made a number of acquisitions there, 2 to date. We have also an exclusive commercialization agreement with 3A Diagnostics. We also have a number of collaborations with universities, so very well regarded. We have one of the top microbial metabolomics experts who studies host pathogen cell interactions at the Technical University of Munich. So we have a very deep scientific expertise, particularly in infectious disease, and focused in Germany.
Okay, I've got audience question here. Can you give a comparison of your CBD delivery product compared to GW Pharma?
That's right. So that's a good point. I mean, with our CBD therapeutic product, with using our proprietary oral delivery system, we're able to gain many times more efficiency. So an oil-based formula of CBD, the average, let's say, dose for an epilepsy patient, child would be somewhere in the, let's say, 700 milligrams per day range. With our oral dissolvable film, we believe we can get that down to somewhere in the 50 to 70 milligrams per day. And this would be instantaneous delivery, predictable bioavailability. So, we're pretty excited about that product, the ability to get it into your system immediately. It's highly predictable. It's highly efficient, so much less active pharmaceutical ingredient required, and extremely low cost of production. So we have automated manufacturing equipment at our lab at a facility in Germany. This could be manufactured in Germany and still be competitive with, let's say, offshore production.
Okay.
So pretty exciting.
Share question. How much of your 58 million shares is held by insiders?
I would say approximately 10 million. I would consider insiders. So these are via acquisition, as well as directors and officers. We're looking at somewhere in the sort of 10 to 12 million share range.
Okay. I guess this is more of a comment than a question. Okay, so looking, you have fans here. Let's see. I think we just saw a question that. Okay, looks like something disappeared. So yeah. So any other audience questions? Please send them in. In terms of so the pipeline, basically, you're looking to launch in the Q1 next year. I guess we're following up on this one. So the diagnostics is going to be in Q1, right, for the COVID?
That's right. So that's a good question. Our plan is CE mark. This is for an IVD or in vitro diagnostic device, CE mark 1 or 2 in Germany in Q1 2021. So that would be for the commercial sale of the lateral flow assay for COVID-19. That would be followed by biosensor products. And drug delivery after that. So we have two pilot studies planned for the drug delivery business this year. So those are bioavailability studies. They'll be run in Europe, and that's for the rotigidine patch and for CBD oral dissolvable.
Okay. So Hugh, for again anybody that might be new to the story, this is the first time they're hearing from you. Can you talk about your background and some of the other key members of the team?
Sure. So I'm a lawyer by background, but prior my legal career. I had a short career as a biotech researcher. So I have a genetics degree and a bioinformatics background, and worked in the University of Toronto in research. We built a team, and we really started with the science. So Dr. Raymar Lobenberg, who's a professor at the University of Alberta, is also the founder of the Drug Development Center there. He's been a key, let's say, founder and scientific presence, and has helped us, guide us towards opportunities in Germany in particular. We have Vector Pharma, which is run by the managing director, Professor Dr. Thomas Beckert, world-renowned expertise in drug delivery. As I mentioned earlier, Technical University of Munich, Professor Dr. Wolfgang Eisenreich, world-renowned metabolomics expert. We have deep diagnostic expertise at 3A Diagnostics, not only general diagnostics expertise, but in particular, oral-based diagnostics. So this is saliva dynamics, interactions between various enzymes. So it's, it worked out perfectly, given the current situation globally, that our expertise was very deeply grounded in infectious disease.
Okay, no, it's interesting because you're in a couple of different areas. So I think maybe investors, they may not have a complete understanding of the company because you got the COVID diagnostics, you get all these things. So I think as people understand the story better, we should see kind of that reflected in the stock price. Hang on.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point. We've got a few things going on, but we've always focused on developing products for low cost. So our advantage on drug delivery, for example, is our platform. It's the ability to develop new products, incorporate these into our platform, and bring them to market at a huge discount in terms of investment required. So, for example, our biosensor incorporation into our oral delivery platform, we did that in 30 days. That would be, I think, unheard of for almost any other company. So, we move quickly. We're small. We're not developing new drugs per se. We are delivering existing drugs more efficiently.
Okay, so through this thin film dissolvable technology.
Right, thin film technology. So, there's a huge upside in some of these enormous opportunities in the drug market, obviously, to take a generic that's more efficient than what's currently out there, and to be able to produce that at a discount to the current cost of production for competitors, I think is a huge advantage, and we can do it for a very low cost.
Okay. Hugh, I'm glad you brought this up because that didn't quite sink in. So that's interesting. Okay, so basically, what other drugs can you put into this delivery platform through your oral?
Right. So on the oral side, CBD, obviously, and that's something we've talked about. We're working on THC, a CBD THC hybrid, buprenorphine, which is an anti-addiction medication or replacement therapy for opioids. We actually have a pipeline of 25 different programs and products, only a handful of which we're working on right now. But we can sort of knock these off one at a time for relatively low cost, demonstrating bioavailability. We are not required to take these through various stages of, let's say, FDA approval, because the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, is already approved. So we're a drug delivery company, which I think is an important distinction.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, so you have this drug delivery platform, this thin film oral platform, and this could be used in theory, I'm assuming, for thousands of different forms.
Depending on the size of the molecule that's involved, but most drug and the dosage required. But there's certainly no shortage of opportunities in the generic space for us to provide a more efficient and lower cost delivery system.
Okay. And do you plan on let's say you get involved in other pharmaceuticals, do you plan on licensing the technology, or are you going to manufacture? Like, what's the game plan?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We have a number of discussions underway now for potential licensing to larger generics that have manufacturing and distribution in place. So I think that's certainly an opportunity. We're a small company. We don't ever foresee any large-scale manufacturing. I would say it'll likely be outsourced and potentially outsourced to licensed distribution partners.
Okay, so you're kind of starting off in the like the CBD space because that's kind of like the low hanging fruit.
Sorry, I just missed that. In terms of,
So right now you're starting off like in the CBD space because that's kind of the low hanging fruit, before you can get into like other pharmaceuticals.
that's right. So we have a few programs going in parallel. I think CBD was it was an opportunity that's obviously, it's timely. People are interested in this. It's not as competitive as you might actually think in terms of delivery. We generally operate in the European jurisdictions where CBD is a medical product. So, this is an opportunity for us to provide an EU GMP manufacturing facility to produce this essentially in-house, an API that's already approved. It's CBD is first out of the gate, but it's one of many. So as I said, we've got 25 different clinical programs. Most of those are oral dissolvable based versus transdermal. So CBD is one of many.
Okay. So we got a question about the COVID diagnostics. When will you have the data?
When are we going to have data? So that will be released. We've put out some just this week news regarding a timeline to commercialization. We'll have a separate press release regarding data supporting our application for commercialization. As I've said, we'll run extensive testing in-house and with our third-party collaborators in Germany, and we're very happy with the results. So, not concerned there, but obviously that needs to be communicated to the public, and we'll do so in short order.
Okay. Let's see here. And okay, so I'll jump in. Okay. Waiting for the next audience question. So, Hugh, what's your vision for Exfido over the next 2-3 years? Like, what's the big picture? What is this company going to look like, assuming everything goes right?
Right. I think we have our marching orders in the sense that we've got a number of products that are in development, and these need to come to market. So over the next few years, driving our diagnostic products as well as our drug delivery to market is our goal. So that means commercial approval, or regulatory approval, obviously manufacturing required, and revenue ultimately. So the pipeline of diagnostics, transdermal opportunities, as well as the oral dissolvables, that's going to be our focus over the next, let's say, 12 to 24 months.
Okay, and let's just kind of recap. What are the key milestones that investors should have an eye on for the next, let's call it the next 6 months? What are the key milestones that people need to keep an eye on?
Yeah, so we expect quite steady news flow over the next 6 months, because we've got our COVID-19 lateral flow assay. We have additional diagnostics all moving in parallel. We have our transdermal patch program for Parkinson's, as well as our CBD program for epilepsy. So there's going to be extensive news over the next 6 months. Everything from clinical validation on the COVID-19 test. We have an ISO audit, the CE mark, and then clinical programs for bioavailability, for the rotigidine, and for CBD programs. So lots of news, results on all three of those in terms of clinical evaluation, as well as commercial milestones along the way.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I don't think you didn't. We didn't even bring up the Parkinson's product. So can you talk about that?
Yeah. So that's a slow release generic. It's a well-established Parkinson's medication. It's transdermal, so essentially a patch that sticks on your skin. Again, we're seeing efficiency advantages over existing products, as well as improved adhesion, and I think in the generic business, really undercutting on cost. So the ability to manufacture at a discount is a huge advantage.
Okay. So what's the competitive landscape like for that, in that particular market, for like what other?
Yeah, so for that, there's the non-generic producer that certainly dominates the market. But as these products come off patent, in particular in Europe, there's opportunities certainly for competition, and in certain jurisdictions in Europe, it's actually required by the pharmacist that if there is a generic product available at a lower price, they must provide the generic product. So there's there's certainly an advantage to coming into the market with a comparable or a better product at a lower price. There's certainly a market available, and these are large drug, $400 or $500 million a year type opportunities, and you stack up a number of those, and that's it starts to look like a pretty attractive business when you can get into that business at a low cost, which is what we're doing.
Okay, so let's see. We have okay, so no other questions yet. So Hugh, I know you got a busy day today, so let's kind of wrap up with our favorite question always at the end is in your opinion, what are the top 3 reasons for investors to consider Ex-Phyto shares today?
Yeah, I think the top three reasons, I think it's our 3 businesses that are moving forward. So we've got, expect very strong news over the next 6 months for our COVID-19 lateral flow assay, for our CBD epilepsy oral dissolvable product, and for our Parkinson's transdermal patch product. So we have 3 products moving to market, moving through clinical programs, data forthcoming. So it's a pretty exciting time with a number of milestones over the next 6 months.
Okay. Hugh, on that note, I want to thank you, and we look forward to having you on our next live stream, probably next week. We're actually going to have you back for follow-up. I think you can have some news by then. So thank you again, and thank you everybody in our audience for joining us. We'll see you in the next time.
Thanks so much, Jack. Appreciate that.